roll there on the record player by calling it blues, you know.
As I became a teenager, I was about 12 or 13 when I first heard Fats Domino. I'm in Love Again. That was the first, I think, what I would call the first rock and roll record I ever heard.
Even Bill Haley was around then.
I remember being in school when I was a kid, and somebody had a picture in one of the musical papers of Elvis. I think it was an advert for Heartbreak Hotel. And I just looked at it and just thought, he's just so good looking. He just looked perfect.
When I was 16, Elvis is what was happening. A guy with long, greasy hair, wiggling his ass and singing Hound Dog and That's All Right Mama on those early Sun records, which I think are his great period.
That's him. That is the guru we have been waiting for. The Messiah has arrived.
You ain't nothing but
One of our favourite records around that time was one called Searching by the Coasters.
We got to hear people like Big Bill Broonzy. I think he might have even done a tour of England.
Why did you trade heaven just for these earthly things? Why did you lose your little hello? Baby, why'd you drop your wings?
I was a big fan of his and actually Frankie Lane.
Never a pair of eyes, promised paradise, deceiving me, grieving me, leaving me blue. Jezebel, it was you.
You know, all those train songs and, you know, Rock Island Line and all that stuff.
Well, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. Well, the Rock Island Line is the road to ride. Yeah, the Rock Island Line is a mighty good road. And if you want to ride it, gotta ride it like a find it. Get your ticket at the station on the Rock Island Line. Well, I may be right, I may be wrong. I know you're gonna miss me when I'm gone.
Suddenly here was a rock and roll hero who had glasses.
I love you, Peggy Sue. With my love so very true. Oh, Peggy, my Peggy Sue. Well, I love you, gal. I want you, Peggy Sue.
The first music I can remember hearing as guitar-oriented music was Jimmy Rogers, the singing brakeman.
T for Texas, T for Tennessee. T for Texas, T for Tennessee. T for Selma, that gal that made a wreck out of me.
I had no idea about doing music as a way of life until rock and roll hit me. And then when rock and roll hit me, that changed my whole life.
Drums were the only thing I wanted. And I came out and I used to look in shops and see drums. That's all I looked at. I never looked at guitars or anything.
My dad used to be a trumpet player himself, and for my birthday, he once bought me a trumpet from Rushworth and Drapers, one of the music stores in Liverpool.
And then when I was 16, I re-established a relationship with my mother for about 4 years. She taught me music. She first of all taught me the banjo, and from that I progressed to guitar. The first song I learned was Ain't That a Shame, an old rock hit, Fats Domino.
When I was 13, 14, I used to be at the back of the class trying to draw guitars. Big cello cutaway guitars with F-holes, little solid ones with pointy cutaways and rounded cutaways. And, you know, I was totally into guitars. And I heard about this kid who had a guitar, and it was £3.10. It was just a little acoustic, round, hall type guitar. And I got the £3.10 off my mother. That was a lot of money in those days.
But I suddenly figured out that I wouldn't be able to sing with this thing stuck in my mouth. So I went back to the shop and traded it in for a guitar. So that was a Zenith, the first guitar I ever had.
I was about 16. I bought a 30 bob bass drum, 30 shillings. Huge, mother. Just a huge one-sided bass drum.
It's a joke in the family. Guitar's all right for a hobby, but it won't earn you any money.
In fact, you know, sometimes we'd travel the whole of Liverpool just to go to someone who knew a chord we didn't know. Remember once hearing about a bloke who knew B7. Now, we knew E and we knew A. It was quite easy, but we didn't know B7. That was kind of the missing part of the link, the other chord, the lost chord. So on we got on the bus, trooped across Liverpool, changed a couple of buses, found this fella, and he showed us B7. We learned it off him, got back on the bus, went home to our mates and went, zing, got it.
Yeah, Paul and I used to just kind of get together, played a bit, but we were just schoolboys then. There was no groups involved till a little bit later. In those days, you know, they say beggars can't be choosers. And we were just desperate. You'd just get anything. Whatever film came, you'd try and see it.
Going to the corner, pick up my sweetie pie. She's my rock and roll baby. She's the apple of my eye. Ready, ready, till I'm ready. Ready, ready, till I'm ready. Ready, ready, till I'm ready, ready, ready to rock and roll.
You know, you went to see those movies with Elvis or somebody in it when we were still in Liverpool, and you'd see everybody waiting to see him, right? And I'd be waiting there too. And they'd all scream when he came on the screen, right? So we thought, that's a good job.
So when Girl Can't Help It came along, instead of us looking at these old black and white movies and thinking, there's Clyde McPhatter, there's Fats Domino, people we loved who were being treated quite shabbily, suddenly this was in colour and this was in widescreen, and there's a famous bit at the beginning of Girl Can't Help It where Tom Ewell comes on and he sort of says, OK, now.
Pardon me.
Widescreen. Colour.
Gorgeous lifelike color by Deluxe. Sometimes you wonder who's minding the store.
And you cut to Jane Mansfield, and that's it. The game's over.
She walks by, the mean folks getting gross. Can't help it, the girl can't help it. If she winks an eye, the breast lights turn to toes. Can't help it, the girl can't help it. If she got a lot of what they call the moles. Can't help it, the girl can't help it.
I went to see Rock Around the Clock in the Isle of Man. My grandparents took me there after I came out of hospital. And it was just sensational because they ripped up the cinema. And this was good for me to see.
When the chimes ring 5, 6, and 7, we'll be right in 7 heaven. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. We're gonna rock, rock, rock till broad daylight. We're gonna rock around the clock tonight. Oh, well, it's 8, 9, 10, 11, 2.
I went to school with Paul, you know, to grammar school, and we were both in the same class in the first year, and then we went off into different streams, you know, but I knew him since I was about 11, I guess, but didn't really know him as like a friend until a number of years later. I met George at the Liverpool Institute as well. He was a year younger than Paul and I. And, yeah, I met George. We used to smoke behind the air raid shelters together.
George and I lived very near each other in Liverpool. So, in fact, we were just a bus stop away from each other. I'd get on the bus, and then the stop afterwards, George would get on. So, being quite close in age, we'd sit together and we'd talk about stuff and that. In fact, he was, I think, about 1.5 years younger than me. That's quite a big age difference at that time. So I suppose I used to talk down to him a little bit, as you do to a sort of kid who's one